The Houston Astros came to town, and we were wondering, were the bats going to show up? Well, you know who showed up? Yordan Alvarez. That's right. They gave away a bobblehead today commemorating the ALCS MVP championship, and they gave him the rings, amazing, beautiful rings that they gave to the team. They even gave Justin Verlander one. What a game today. Yordan Alvarez hits his ninth multi-home run game. Luis Garcia looked really good on the mound. And so Eric and I are here to talk about it. We took in the sights and sounds of the home opener. It was a sellout crowd. Let's talk Astros baseball.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked On the Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Heisman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. And as you can see, I've got this awesome new hat that I got. And as soon as I purchased it, I went back in to buy something else, and I saw another hat that would have been a little bit cooler, but I still like this purchase. It's still got a cool design and everything. So it was an awesome game. I know it was a cool experience. There was like 42,000 Astros fans there supporting Houston, and it was a cool sight to see. But what the weirdest thing was, while I was waiting in the line, there is a couple that was wearing a White Sox. The man was wearing a White Sox jersey, and the woman was wearing a Red Sox shirt. And I'm like, what are you all doing here? That's just craziest thing to see. But
So hold on, White Sox and Red Sox?
yes. I mean,
Wow,
it's
they're
like they
very
couldn't decide what
confused.
socks to wear that day. So, speaking of which, you know what? To help you decide what socks to put on, why don't you go ahead and make us your first listen every day? And why don't you watch us on YouTube? Go ahead and subscribe to us. If you haven't subscribed to us, I know Brett was going ahead and using his popple all over the stadium today. But go and subscribe to us, and make sure you listen to us on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you check out the Locked On Astros podcast. And so this was a awesome game, except for the ending. And we'll have to wait to hear the official word for what's going on with Jose Altuve, but he did leave the game. He was limping after beating out that hit in the eighth inning, I believe it was. And so that was something that could be a kind of negative from this game. But he did get one hit, and he did get a walk in this game. But the story of today's game has to be the 2, 3, 4 hitters in the Astros lineup who combined for a total of 7 total hits. And they dominated the Angels pitching staff. And this was a pretty game to watch offensively for those 3 guys.
Yeah, they did. And we will hit this more in detail how this impacts a team, but it was just reported from Brian McTaggart that Jose Altuve has a left hamstring strain, and his day-to-day manager, Dusty Baker, said. So that's the official word from the Astros. Beyond that, we don't know how long that will have him out. Hamstring injuries can be tricky. You've got to nurse them. So we're hoping that that's not a long-term thing. But in the positive, like you said, when I was getting ready for the show, because we were at the game, both of us were there. It was a huge crowd, 42,646, I believe. You know, Brantley 2 for 5, Bregman 2 for 5, Alvarez 3 for 5. Just a monster from your 2, 3, and 4 hitter, Eric. I mean, that covers up Yuli going 0 for 4. Altuve was 1 for 4. Pena 1 for 3. When Pena gets up with the bases loaded, I had my camera ready.
Yeah.
He walked. He got an RBI, but I was like, this would be the best. His first home game at Minute Maid Park to hit a grand slam. I mean, you know, what was neat about the Yordan Alvarez home run is literally the right before that pitch that he golfed with the 9-iron. It was like he's at Top Golf trying to hit the back trays. My son looks at me and says, Dad, Yordan's about to go yard here. And literally the next pitch, he freaking crushed it. And these balls that he hit today, Eric, it wasn't just his home runs that were leaving the bat hot. It was his double. He had the three hardest hit balls in the game: 109.6, 107.5, and 104.2 off the bat. That was cool. I want to take a little sidebar here, and I just want to reach out to all the new listeners to Locked On Astros that I met yesterday. If you subscribed to our YouTube channel while I was there, if you logged into Apple and subscribed to us, we want to thank you for becoming a part of the Locked On Astros Nation. And we're going to do our best to bring you the best coverage that the Astros have. There's a lot of people that cover the Astros, but Eric and I stay on top of it 24/7. And we really hope that you enjoy it. We hope that you also share this with your friends. So thanks. It was great meeting everybody, great meeting new people. The Astros Twitter group getting together. I love y'all. Y'all are like family to us. And so thank y'all so much for your support and listening to us on a daily basis.
All right. So if Altuve's out for extended amount of time, I guess that brings up the question: who's going to take over for him? The easy answer would be Aledmys Diaz. He is somebody who's played second base before, and he was the one who kind of pinch ran for him tonight and played second base in the ninth inning. He would be a
That's his,
natural fit. Yeah.
yeah, that's his best because we talked about that's his best position on the field.
Yes, Yuli Gurriel has temporarily played that in the past, but I don't see him scooting over there. I think that you could see somebody like Goodrum play there for a little bit as well. And maybe they could probably piecemeal some people, but I think Diaz is the best answer long term. I mean, short term, long term, whatever the
So
solution would be.
right. So I covered this whenever we signed Nico Goodrum about platooning Diaz and Goodrum. And you're going to have to put one of them against right-handers, one of them against left-handers. And really off the top of my head, I can't recall who goes with which pitcher. I've got so much in my mind right now, but that will probably be a matchup thing. Goodrum is a professional player, but Goodrum is a veteran. So it's not like he's some unproven rookie. Hey, a cool thing happened tonight, Eric. Got this baseball here. Joe Perez, friend of Locked On Astros and former Hook and former Space Cowboy, was at the game. We congratulate him. Hey, welcome to the show. It's great to see you. Hey, man, you throw us a ball. Man, he threw us up a ball. And so that was cool. Thank you, Joe Perez, for the baseball. That was really neat. The fan experiences, Eric. If y'all do anything like you like take a tour, do the game day tour. I recommend it. It's really, really cool. They got some fun, energetic tour guides.
Yeah, I know Goodrum can. I think we'll see a combination. It depends on the matchups. We know that Dusty Baker sure likes doing the matchup, so I think we'll see something like that. But unfortunately, Altuve hasn't really hit his stride. He's batting 167 on the season, 518. And I said that he's probably going to hit his stride maybe once the homestand hits. This is not what I was expecting at all. Altuve is one of the leaders on this team, if not the leader. So this would be a big loss for the Astros if he's out for an extended amount of time. This is not a guy you can easily replace. This is a guy who hit 30 home runs last year, 31 home runs, and he's your leadoff hitter. And it kind of opens the door for who's going to be the leadoff guy. We can kind of talk about in a second, but
Yeah.
it brings up a question: who would you bet on being the leadoff guy?
Well, right now, I would bet on Jeremy Pena because he's got a hot bat. He sees a lot of pitches. He's got plate discipline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. If you've been watching the NBA playoffs, wow, the association is putting on a show, so go check that out. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. And I even heard something funny. James Harden said, I've got no pressure on me in the playoffs. Actually, yes, you do. You got more pressure than anybody because all you've ever done in the playoffs is not make it to the finals. So keep working on that, Harden. We miss you, not really. But head to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet online, where the game starts.
Alrighty, and don't forget, go check out the Lockdown Now podcast. They do a great job of all the nows that we produce. They go ahead and put them all together and make a great show. And they talk about all the action, not just baseball, but all the sports going around. So go check out the Lockdown Now podcast and keep up to date with everything that's going around with your favorite sport. So I know a lot of people are want to talk about who's going to lead off. Somebody just mentioned in the chat that if you look at what about Joe Perez, maybe could he play second base? And I just looked up his minor league stats while you were talking, Brett, and he's played one game
He's a
at second
third.
base. Yeah,
He's a third baseman. Yeah,
he's played one game at second base. So I
which
don't see them switching him at the major league level to do that. So I'm sorry.
no, that's actually that is a good call. Here's the thing: the Astros, while they're missing Altuve hasn't really been like doing what he's supposed to do at the plate,
No,
right?
he's gonna
No,
bounce back.
I understand that, but I think the hit would be a little bit harder to take if he was batting like 380, right? And he was driving in most of your runs, or but my point is that the glass can still be half full. You need to nurse this hamstring and make sure that it's not something that lingers through the season. A hamstring can hamper someone an entire season, and you've got to be careful. He's had knee issues in the past. You wonder if this is a symptom or something that's coming just as a byproduct down the road as he ages. But Jose Altuve is going to take the time he needs. I think the team will be fine, and they're back home. And I mean, Eric, this team played looser. This team played they look like they were having fun playing baseball again. They haven't been home since mid-March. They literally haven't slept in their own bed since mid-March. And I don't know if I downplayed this or even really if we really focus on it. I know we mentioned it, but I really been thinking about that a lot today. That's a huge thing. I mean, these guys are major leaguers. They're not in the minor leagues. They're not used to being on the road all the time. They have their comforts. They have their families. They have their routines. And when you're in West Palm, it's shortened, and then you go to West Coast, and then it's a 2 hour time difference. For them to come back from 2 hour time difference, a 9 game road trip, and to do what they did, and Luis Garcia to strike out the side in the first inning. I
Right.
mean, dude, this is the kind of baseball that we're expecting to see. And the Angels were honestly somewhat competitive without Mike Trout.
Right. Going back to Yuli Gurriel playing second base, he's actually in 673 total games. I don't think that includes tonight's game. He's only played second base for the Houston Astros 20 times.
Who's
So
that?
Yuli Gurriel. So
Yeah, Yuli Gurriel's not
I
moving
know.
away from first. Yeah, that's
I'm
not
just
even
saying that. I mean, he has played that in a pinch if you need to put Joe Perez there. But I really think that Diaz and Goodrum will go ahead and split there. I'm just saying that was a option there, and so. But we can kind of switch towards who's the leading off situation, and I guess you would have to go with either your most veteran guy or maybe because you got two hot guys that you could put there. It's either going to be somebody like, I don't know, maybe Michael Brantley or Jeremy Pena. I don't see I've
Michael.
seen several different situations, suggestions, but Jeremy Pena would be the ideal guy with how he's playing.
Yeah,
Michael Brantley makes good contact and everything, but
but
you
he's
kind
not
of need
fast.
him. Yeah. You need him
You
kind of being a guy to advance a runner.
No, yeah, because tonight he was hitting the opposite field. He's your hitter that's going to hit against the shift. He's your hitter that's going to hit that bloop single to get on base. Kyle Tucker's not going to do it. Kyle Tucker's not a leadoff. Kyle Tucker's not even hitting a whole lot right now. I know his expected batting average is BABIP, and you know, I mean, all that stuff all that's great in the world of baseball metrics, but he's not getting on base. You're not going to put a guy that's not getting on base in the leadoff spot. Jeremy Pena sees a lot of pitches. That is a key thing for a leadoff hitter. Jeremy Pena has speed. Jeremy Pena is doing a very good job. And what better thing to do to stroke this guy's confidence and put him in the leadoff spot? You could even put Jose Siri there too.
Yeah.
Jose Siri has enough
He's already
moxie.
started there. Yeah.
Dude, and let me remind you that this guy, he made a defensive catch today. He ran down a ball. This guy, when a ball is hit towards him, Eric, the ball, I mean, basically you can count on not getting a hit if it's anywhere within catching distance because Jose Siri and Pete Bertula saw this in 2021 winter. He said, we found an elite defender in Jose Siri. I love seeing that out there. More than likely, Chas McCormick starts tomorrow night, even though Siri had a good game. I believe that Dusty Baker loves jostling and juggling this lineup. But I'll tell you this town loves Dusty Baker. When they announced his name for that ALCS ring ceremony, people went absolutely berserk. So he's endeared himself to these fans, and we give him a hard time. Fans give him a hard time from time to time. We wonder what he's thinking. But really, while we've got him until Joe Espada goes in there, I think he's the right man for the job.
I mean, I also think that wasn't he the first like official person that was called during that ring ceremony? I think the people before that were like the training staff and
Right. Well, I know, but no other. I mean, but he's a manager. I mean,
yeah,
like Gary Pettis got like everybody went nuts for Gary Pettis. He's like a hometown favorite.
right.
Um, but to me, I think the leadoff spot goes to Pena without a doubt. I wouldn't put Bregman there. I wouldn't put Tucker there. I wouldn't put Brantley there. That's just me personally. I just think Pena makes the most sense, and then you slide in Siri every once in a while because let me tell you, you give this kid more confidence, you give this kid more reps, you give him consistency on the field. He's going to pay dividends because nobody's expecting Siri to do anything. Let's be honest. People aren't writing articles about Jose Siri and this budding superstar, and that's okay. It's a perfect place for him to be in. In Houston, we know his potential, and maybe I'm being a little too optimistic with him, but I believe that Siri is doing a fine job in center field. I mean, our center field position, Eric, is the best in the major leagues.
Yeah, that's because Siri's been doing a good job, and Chas McCormick, even though we kind of ride him a little bit for his defense, he's been doing a good job a little bit too. So we'll see what happens when Jake Myers comes back because his defense is a lot better than Chas McCormick. So we'll see what happens. The way Siri's been playing, he's batting 286 with 851 OPS right now. He did get a RBI today on a hit by pitch, and I think the Angels tried to question it. They tried to overturn it, but it was overruled. And it looked like it almost hit the bat, but it did hit
Did they
his.
catch his hand?
Yeah, it did catch his hand a little bit. So Siri was able to get RBI based on being hit by a pitch, and that was following Jeremy Pena with the bases loaded walk. So that's two rookies getting clutch RBIs in the old-fashioned way. So uh,
Exactly.
so that was good there. Then you saw Maldonado getting an RBI. So you had the bottom of the order getting some RBIs, but Alvarez has to be the player to game. He came back after missing four games or something.
5 games. He
Five
missed five
games.
games. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs with 2 home runs. One of them was 429 feet. They were blast, and so this guy is just acting like, no, I've been here the whole time. I didn't.
Imagine that. Hey,
Yeah,
imagine Yordan comes back, and so does the offense. As Yordan goes, this offense goes. And imagine if he was playing left field tonight. He probably would have hit 4 home runs.
yeah. So you and I before yesterday's show, we were trying to figure out how Parker and Mazinski was added to the 40-man roster.
Right.
We forgot that Alvarez was on the COVID IL, even though he didn't have COVID. So when a player's placed on COVID IL, that opens up a spot on the 40-man roster. But because Alvarez was coming back, they needed a spot on the 40-man roster for Alvarez to return. So the Astros made a move today to go ahead and add Lance McCullers to the 60-day IL, meaning he is out until at least June 3rd, I believe the number is. So there's no chance that McCullers will be back until at least June 3rd. But James Click did say in an interview today that he does expect McCullers to be in rotation at some point this season.
Something I want to mention about Maldonado, because when you look at his batting average, he's hitting 053. Um, let me tell you the value he actually has here with the team is when Luis Garcia was facing Shohei Ohtani. Martin Maldonado was able to know that Shohei Ohtani could not catch up to his fastball. And so he was throwing him a heavy dose of fastballs on the inside. That's why Garrett Cole wanted Martin Maldonado in New York and not Gary Sanchez. I think if Garrett Cole had pulled Maldonado up to New York, Garrett Cole would have had an even better season than he had in New York and could have been doing even better things than he already has. Maldonado is a master behind the plate, and he knows the right pitches to call. He knows what guys their weaknesses are and how to expose them. And that was just a masterful job behind the plate. His value 100% is behind the plate. And that's why you can handle having an 053 hitter. Trust me, Maldonado probably hates getting up there to bat because he's like, he either hits a home run or he's out. I mean, outside of the sacrifice bunt tonight, that's literally what he does: home run or he's out. And so he does have value on this team.
All right. So Argenius, if Altuve is okay, I will definitely take off that jersey for you, depending on what size it is. I wear a large, so if Altuve is totally okay, I'll go ahead and take that jersey for you. So I'll go ahead and take the sacrifice for you
So,
if
so
Altuve is
Eric,
okay. Uh-huh.
so I mean, so many people like your hat. Shouldn't you give your hat away to the fans? I mean, come on, come on.
No, I just bought it. I
I'm
bought my
joking.
girlfriend a jersey. All I got is a freaking hat. So,
You paid
um,
for.
yeah.
You
So,
realize they're going to be sold Wednesday for cheaper.
well, I may get myself one then, but
There you go. There
you
you
do
go.
what you do. Like you have to get the right part for your car. So you do what you do. So speaking of right car, let's parts. Let's talk about Rock Auto.
Yeah, Rock Auto is amazing. With the ever increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible to go to your local parts store and go to your dealership and find what you need. Why? Because they have like one selection or maybe two, and then they upcharge you. If you're not a mechanic, they're like, "Oh, let me give you the extra charge because you're a regular Joe." Well, not at Rock Auto. That's just they don't play Mickey Mouse stuff like that. I mean, this is like a Astros regular season world championship versus a Dodgers 60 game world championship. It just doesn't compare. You can save 30, 50, sometimes 100% more for the same parts than going to the chain store. And who wants to go to the store anyways? I mean, if your car's broke, just order it online. So go to your laptop or use your mobile device and go to rockauto.com and see all the makes and models. Put your truck, make and model, your car, whatever you drive, a van, put that information in there. Search it when you go and buy it, and it says, "How did you hear about us?" Right, locked on in there. "How did you hear about us?" box, so that they know that we sent you. rockauto.com, owned by family for 20 years. Amazing selection, reliable low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. All the car your parts will ever need. Whatever, rockauto.com. I'm
All
so
right.
tired right now, man.
I know you are. And after being in the Astros team store for so long today, I don't want to go get my auto parts anywhere. I'd rather just order it online. So yeah, definitely. So we'll see what happens. I may go get one from the academy soon, but yeah, I definitely didn't want to do that. But you got to make the missus happy. So anyway, Alvarez. Before we move on to the pitching staff tonight, Alvarez's exit velocity was 109.6. 107.5, 104.2. That was hopefully higher than his temperature while he was out. So hopefully it
Well, I
was
hope so. Oh, I'm pretty sure if he had 109 point, I don't think he would be on the field right now, Eric.
yeah,
I
I know.
think he would. Let's just say, I don't know that. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's like some zombie movie. Good Lord. Let's move on to the pitching. So Luis Garcia had 5.2 innings pitched, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, only 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He did give up a home run. But he did what he needed to do. He looked really good early on. He looked sharp. And then you had Matan come in. Matan 1 and 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 2 hits, a walk, no strikeouts. And then Montero came in Neres, and this is how they're getting through the end of the games. Remember, without
Have a
um,
closer.
do what?
We have a closer. We
Okay, okay,
have a
okay,
closer. We have a closer. I'm just
okay.
saying we do.
Go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
We have a closer. It's Nearest. I mean, in this situation, I know this wasn't a save situation, but The last few times, who's pitched the ninth inning? Just saying.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So I mean, that's all right. So go ahead and wrap up the pitching.
Well, anyway, Montero looked pretty great tonight with 3 strikeouts, like you said. This staff overall was really really good, and so the Astros need to continue doing this. I mean, I don't want to be Captain Obvious here, but they need to do like they did against the Angels so far, not what they did against the Mariners, because the Mariners, the 2 games against the Mariners was very bad, except for JV's game. So hopefully we'll see more of this. But it helped that Mike Trout was out of the lineup. It helped that. I mean, Otani is starting to heat up a little bit, but he's still struggling a little bit. But overall, the Angels are still second in the AL West. You can't discount them. They're 6-5. The Astros are now first place in the AL West. They're now 6-4. So the Astros are just waiting to see how severe the injury is to Jose Altuve, and then we'll see what happens from there. So.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean the Astros look good going into game 2 of the series. Tuesday game and then Wednesday game, and I mean it looks like we have on
Valdez,
Tuesday we have Valdez versus
Patrick.
Sandoval, and then the next day after that we have Odorizzi, and so Odorizzi I think at home hopefully he does well. I know last game he wasn't pleased with his outing, and I think there's some things him and Martin are working on. So I can really see the Astros sweeping the series, to be honest with you. And I'm just going to say this right now. I don't know that you see the Angels get back into first place the rest of the season.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know in game 2, the Astros have had some success against Patrick Sandoval. When I say they've had some success, you have Alvarez with 2 home runs and 7 at bats. Then you also have Alex Bregman with a homer and 3 at bats. Then you have Yuli Gurriel batting 500. And then you have Martin Maldonado batting 500. Chas McCormick batting 667, and then Kyle Tucker with 2 home runs. So the Astros have really hit around their former farmhand in Patrick Sandoval. The Angels, on the other hand, you're looking at how they've fared against Framber Valdez. Shohei Ohtani is batting 111 with 1 home run. Then you have Anthony Rendon batting 385 with 1 home run. Max Stassi, former Astro, 375 and 8 at bats. Kurt Suzuki, too tired, batting 500, and Jared Walsh is batting with 1 home run. He's batting 400. Taylor Ward, who seems to be a superstar right now, is batting 500 and 8 at bats. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. We'll have to see which Framber Valdez shows up, because first game, he looked great. Second game, he didn't look so good.
Right, yeah. And I think the Astros. I think their bats are alive. They're at home. Yordan Alvarez looks good, and I mean this offense is going to take off. I think they're going to score a lot of runs these next 2 games. I'd be surprised if they didn't. I know when Odorizzi gets in there, hopefully he gives up a lot of stuff that's not just pop fly, but like infield fly, because he tends to be a fly ball pitcher. Hopefully he gets his command and he keeps his stuff down in the zone and not up. If he does that, he'll be fine. I don't know if Mike Trout is out this entire series or if he was day to day, because I know he got hit in the hand, I believe, by a pitch, and I know the X-rays are negative, so nothing was broken or anything. But I really think that Trout being out really takes and puts all the pressure on Ohtani, because Rendon is out as well. This is the Angels are healthy season, and now 2 of their star players are not healthy. You know, they just they have a better bullpen this year, but they're just not getting it done. Lorenzen is this. He's like a what do you call it? He's kind of a hybrid player. He was an outfielder and a pitcher at Cal State Fullerton when he's with the Reds. He played a lot of outfield. He started pitching again, and then he's become primarily a pitcher. So, but he's another 2-way player. But the Angels, outside of a few hitters, don't really have much to support what they need to get wins against a much better and far superior team in the Houston Astros.
Jose Altuve said he'll know more about his injury tomorrow, whatever that means. I guess that means the
Yeah, he just got to
severity.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just got to get it evaluated. So
Yeah, I mean, you can get you can kind of yeah. I think they're gonna have to get evaluated and see how serious it is, but we'll see what happens. But and it's V Rod wants to know what was it like to being back at Minmay Park. It was awesome. There was a lot of people there. It was pretty crowded. It was hard to get
it's packed.
anywhere, but it's just a lot of people were excited to get the jerseys. I mean, you couldn't look anywhere without seeing the new Space City jerseys, the hats, and I think the Astros did a great job designing this and everything. So, what do you think about your experience?
Oh, I had a blast. My son was there. We got a baseball on opening day. It's just great when you and your son can take in a game together. There's nothing like it. My father took me as a kid. I remember going to many games in the Dome with him. He took me to Ranger Stadium when I was a big Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco fan. So baseball has been a tradition in my family since I can remember. My grandfather's favorite player was actually Bob Watson from the Houston Astros, and he loved Bob Watson. He loved Jimmy Wynn, and so they got to see them play in Kissimmee years ago in spring training. So the Astros are near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love being there. For me, it's like a freaking holiday. It's like, is this? I mean, this is really what heaven's going to be like. I'm pretty sure. And so just loved it. Loved seeing friends there that I hadn't seen all off season. The Astros Twitter community is strong. The Locked On Nation community is strong. And it's cool when people see us from the show. Hey, I love your show. And that's really encouraging. So all around, great atmosphere. Good job, Minute Maid Park, putting on a good show. We met James Click tonight. That was cool. We'll see where that leads us. I met Andre Scrub by accident, just walked by. I was like, oh my gosh, you're
Is he
Andre
not playing
Scrub.
baseball anymore?
No, he was doing a rehab assignment down in West Palm. He's
Okay.
actually flying back to he's going back to West Palm, and then the next day he's flying back to Sugarland because he's
Okay.
going to be joining the Space Cowboys. He's been on assignment because he's been injured.
All right. Julian Morales says he will see the doctor, and Dusty Baker says he's day to day Jose Altuve, and also Dusty Baker on Yordan Alvarez. What can you say about him? He's unbelievable. I mean, this guy comes back
Well,
after being out for 5 days, and
well said.
it just comes back and just crushes like this. So, let's see what happens. I think the Astros just need put what happened in Seattle behind them. Yes, you had that JV epic. Whatever happened, that was just like a game of legends. Just
Mm.
everything was magic that game. And then the other two games, you just got to be like, what the heck happened there? But in this game, this was outside of what happened to Jose Altuve. Everything seemed to go right for the Houston Astros, and hopefully they can carry on the magic, carry on the home cooking, carry on the Minmay Park magic, because that's what they got to do to put some distance ahead of the Angels, because the Angels look like they're going to be a good team or not. I don't know. Who knows? It's still way too early in the season to declare that. But this Astros, they've got to start hitting more consistently like they did tonight. So, anything else?
No, just like I said, great game all around. Player of the game, I agree with you. Yordan Alvarez, hands down, the best player on the field tonight. And I mean, there's going to be more to come. It's not his first. It's not his last. Well, it's not going to be his last multi-home run game
Right.
of the season. He will have more.
All right. So that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. We'll be back tomorrow following tomorrow's game. And just make sure you follow us on, go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. Go ahead and give us a like, and go and listen to us on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and go check out Sully over at the Locked On MLB podcast. He does a great job covering all the different sports all around. So rock on, Stros Bros, as T. Bradley says, and let's go ahead and get another victory, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.